Many say as young as 12 years old. We know as young as 15. And he's violating a law that is supposed to bring these young ladies peace of mind. Well, they're older now, but they're supposed to bring these victims, these survivors, peace of mind.
This is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, and welcome to the Think Tank, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, just a pinch of common sense to draw unbiased logical conclusions. Today, we're here to talk about, once again, the saga that won't end because Trump won't let it, the Epstein files. If he releases the files, this comes to an end. If you like content like this and you're looking to hear about it from both sides, this is the place. This is the Think Tank, where we all come together. Like, share, subscribe, become part of the critical thinking community, help us grow, help us expand, help us reach a larger audience so that we can all have conversations that matter on the federal level. Today, as always, my co-host, the Honorable Dion Powell, is here to discuss the matter at hand, which in this particular case is once again, unfortunately, the case that won't die, the Epstein files. Dion, introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year 2026. We're going to put a different twist on it. So far, the midterms are coming up, and we have to address the pink elephant for the GOP in the room. So I'm an 80-20 Trumpster now. Agree with the president 80% of the time, 20% not so much. But we have to discuss it and become a whole united MAGA movement to hopefully save somewhat this midterm election. So I'm a consultant, a community organizer, and that's what I want to say about that. Now, when it comes to the Epstein files, boy, is this backfiring on the Democrats, because now even Abby Phillips, I shouldn't mention her name because she's hard to watch and listen to, she had to even admit on CNN in 2003 that President Trump cut ties with this guy because of a situation with one of the staff workers at Mar-a-Lago and so forth. So if CNN is crashing and reporting the news as is, you know it's starting off to a good 2026.
You do know that we have pictures and birthday cards and
doesn't mean anything.
Where Donald Trump is loving this guy, right?
Well, sell that to the legacy media now that has to admit that, hey, Trump and this guy weren't really in bed together like people need them to be. See what I did there?
Except for if you actually pay attention to the files being released.
What about the victims? Huh? What about the victims?
This is about the victims. Release the files so the victims can find peace. Why is Trump not giving these victims peace?
Ask the media and the attorneys that's coming after Trump when there's so many other names of people in these files that's coming.
But the other people in the files are not protecting everybody. The only person protecting everybody, and Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said it. Marjorie Taylor Greene said the only reason that Trump is not releasing the files, and this is what Trump said to her, is because his friends would get hurt.
Again,
Trump hasn't denied it.
Okay, that's fine. But again, this has nothing to do with implicating Trump in anything. And Marjorie Taylor Greene.
So you do understand that there's a law. It's called the Epstein Transparency Act that said these files had to be released. So our how many times convicted felon is once again breaking the law that he himself signed into law, but not releasing the files because he wants to protect his friends.
Well, again, Congress has to do its job. Department of Justice and the FBI and all those wonderful people put the pressure on them. The president, again, is there. Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving in a few weeks, if you recall, from her position. So now it's time to do their job and try to unredact the redacted.
Well, I do believe they are doing their job. If anybody's been paying attention, they are putting pressure on the FBI. Kash Patel is sweating bullets over the Epstein files that he once was the champion of releasing. Pam Bondi, like all of these people are really like in trouble because of these files. Like these people are protecting It's the worst, the worst. They're protecting the worst of the worst. Pedophiles. That's who they're protecting. That's who is in the files that they won't release. Now, it was said by Akash Patel that there were no other conspirators, co-conspirators. Since then, 10 co-conspirators have been found. Since then, 25 co-conspirators have been found. But here's where it gets crazy. Here's where it gets bonkers. So they released 700,000 files and said, and was giving them in drips and drabs. They wasn't giving it all. They're supposed to release the whole thing. They released like 3% of all of the 700,000 files, right? Then some brilliant person, I don't know who it was, decided to go to the Southern District of New York, where the case was actually tried, the federal prosecuting office that actually tried the Epstein case in 2003. They decided to go there and they looked in the place where the actual trial was actually being conducted, and they found 1,000,000 more files. Now, wait, they only had 700,000. You mean to tell me they didn't know to go to where the case was actually tried, and they found 1,300,000 more? What? They didn't have 1,000,000 altogether. They had 700,000 and they found 1,000,000. That sounds to me like a cover-up. What do you think? Is Trump covering up for his pedophilia friends?
Hey, just like the previous administration and their investigation, it's politically motivated. We know this. The next thing is, like I said before, on the previous episode about the wars in Venezuela, I don't really agree with the way the president's handling this one. And it's hurting the whole MAGA movement, because this is something that he ran on. Because normally it's promises made, promises kept. This is a promise that he's not really keeping. A lot of people are upset about it. So
the question now I have is, why do you believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene is telling the truth? Because Trump never denied what she said. He just got mad about it. But he never denied it.
So. Sounds good. It sounds legitimate. But again, remember, it's not going to hurt Trump so much as the friends, quote unquote, who they were. Everybody that's bigwig that hang out at Mar-a-Lago, probably the same people that hang out at Epstein Island. So those are the people that are being protected. Mind you, the Democrats are probably peppered in that process as well. So they have to be careful. So you got
the Democrats get hit, so what? Get the bad guys. As a matter of fact, didn't it come out that Trump flew on this plane many more times than was originally reported by the Department of Justice? Hey everybody, this is your boy Leo. You know me. I've been doing commercials for 15 years, television commercials, radio ads, billboards. Now I'm trying to step it into the big leagues. I want to be an independent filmmaker. I've got the degrees, I've got the experience, and I need your help to make my first independent film, Garot. So Garot is Boys in the Hood meets Clue. So these dudes from Brooklyn is trying to buy their drugs to supply the hood. So they go to the mafia stronghold and they purchase their drugs, but one of them turns up dead. And now there's a race to find out who did it. The Godfather's going to send in his hit squad, Squadra Assassina, to take them out. They don't figure out who did it because somebody died on his turf and he's not happy and he can't have stuff like that happening in his business. So please, if you want to show support, my Kickstarter campaign is down in the description box. Didn't it come out that he was actually on the island that he declared that he had never been on? What was he doing on that island and why was he lying about being there?
I don't know. All I say suspicious. You can suspect all you need. But again, you got the name brand media having to admit that in 2003, Trump cut ties with this man, and they became enemies ever since. So after
I don't care.
You don't care what they say? Okay.
Well, I mean, so they said that, but the evidence showed. So I cut ties with you, but I'm hopping on a plane with you and Ghislaine Maxwell. No, don't believe it. Sorry. Why are you on his? If you cut ties with him, how are you on his private plane? Which one is it? You were on his plane, so you didn't cut ties. Is that logical?
How does this help the victims? It doesn't. because it's not going to give them justice. If Donald Trump didn't do anything, let's talk about the redactions.
The redactions where they redacted all of the co-conspirators' names, but they let loose victims' names. Those are the ones where Donald Trump's name was released by accident on one of the pages, and they actually had to pull it off the internet because Donald Trump's name was on it. You mean those redactions? Where it was, oh snap, we let Donald Trump's name go, we got to pull that back. Those are the redactions. Those are the ones you're referring to?
I'm referring to the entire documents in which they are redacted. Those names have to be there, so that's the unredacted.
I do recall back in March, Pam Bondi said she had the entire file. She charged them, Department of Justice, the people that prosecuted this guy. She said she had everything and she was going to release it to the public. So if they had everything back then, why are they struggling now to find everything? How did they find 1 million more files if they had everything? Why is it that they hired almost 1,000 FBI agents and gave them overtime for a weekend, 1,000 FBI agents just to redact Trump's name if Trump has nothing to hide? That's crazy. And yet you believe he has nothing to hide. So why is my tax dollars going to pay 1,000 FBI agents to hide what he don't have to hide?
Well, some could argue that this is the way that the Democrats are trying to blackmail the president of the United States in front of the world. And
blackmail
the
for
media is trying
what?
to do is, how? Well, again, they're doing everything they can to try to take this man down and to hurt this man and his family. That's what Trump arrangement is when it comes to the Democrats and the mainstream media that's trying to help them. However, the general public at large doesn't trust the mainstream media because it seems so slanted or biased, as they say in the industry. That's why they have to report the truth. Because these lies to try to implicate President Trump with all this innuendo and suggestive language is not working to help what? The victims.
I understand your perspective on this, but I like to utilize something called the truth when I'm looking at something and giving a critical thinking perspective and a breakdown, doing an analytical breakdown. The victims want peace. All any of us are saying is give the victims peace. And just like anything else, somebody dies, it's because of Trump derangement syndrome. Later for the fact that this man was unalived by his own children, it was because of Trump derangement syndrome. These innocent women now who are children, who are survivors of the most heinous acts, that all they want is peace, man, it's Trump derangement syndrome. There seems to be an established pattern that when somebody wants justice or when somebody's in pain and Trump runs his mouth or does something illegal like not following the Epstein Transparency Act, that the excuse for him not following the act and him breaking the law is that other people are sick with a syndrome named after him. So we're sick with a syndrome named after us because he's breaking the law that he signed into law and not giving these victims peace. Do you understand why somebody might look at that and say, what? Do you understand what's wrong with that way of thinking?
Well, again, the victims and their lawyers have to put pressure. And that's what I want to say about that. But from the information coming out that's being released, it's not helping them at all. So that's the 2 + 2 = 4, in my opinion. You see what I'm saying?
Why do they need to do this? Why doesn't Trump just do the right thing?
You heard what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. Here's one of his friends heard. But then again, some people suspect that Trump and Elon Musk are just trolling these people. So they keep poking and prodding until it all blows up.
Why would he troll people? Why would he troll child sex victims? Why would he do, what kind of monster would troll children that was molested? There's something wrong with anybody who would troll victims of those type of horrendous crimes. They're heinous. You're okay with trolling those types of? Are you okay with that?
The thing is, what I am okay with is the president's strategy here on how he's getting the Democrats and the mainstream media involved in a situation where if these things are redacted, it could blow up in their faces. So maybe behind the scenes, he knows stuff, probably does with his team that the public doesn't know. And he's just sitting on it, waiting to release it for political purposes, which is wrong, mind you, but still all in the game because they've done it to him before. He's ready.
So because they prosecuted him and he was convicted 30 something times of being a felon, now he's
no, he's convicted, and then he becomes a felon.
I said okay, so he's convicted of being a felon. Okay, so he was convicted and became a felon, so he was convicted of being a felon. That's what they.
What did he do that was so horrendous? Campaign finance fraud. So what?
So what? He's just a. No, it was a lot more than that. But so what? He's just a felon. Who cares?
The previous DA didn't want to touch it, and the FEC.gov didn't want to touch it. So why did
But when he was convicted, the Letitia James, these people did not convict him. The lawyers, the attorneys brought the case, presented the evidence, and a jury of his peers looked and said, he's guilty. That's how that works. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal analyst, but I think it's fair to say that a jury of his peers, 12 people, that his lawyers agreed to hearing this case, because it's not like the prosecutors are like, we want these 12 people. The defense gets to name people as well. 12 people that the defense agreed to being on the jury convicted him of being a felon.
In a liberal city like New York, yes. Makes sense?
12 of his peers agreed that based on the evidence, he's a felon. That's what happened. You can spin it how you want. 12 of his peers listened to the evidence and said he was guilty. And right now he's breaking another law, and that law is hurting the most, I don't want to have the words, the victims that have gone through the most horrendous possible thing that you can possibly imagine a young female child going through. Many say as young as 12 years old. We know as young as 15. And he's violating a law that is supposed to bring these young ladies peace of mind. Well, they're older now, but they're supposed to bring these victims, these survivors, peace of mind. How could anybody be okay? I guess, this female, bro. You don't have kids. I have daughters, so this touches me in a way I guess you will not understand. You have a mother. You have sisters.
I have a mother. I have a niece. They're not behind me like you. I don't have no pictures over here. I'm a lonely single bachelor in this one-bedroom apartment with no food. That guy got some food yesterday from a clergy breakfast.
So, that could have been your niece, just as easily as it could have been my daughters. How could you be okay with somebody protecting them, protecting the people that committed these heinous acts?
Well, again, this might reflect on the midterm elections because Marjorie Taylor Greene and a lot of other people on the GOP really fought hard to believe the president's word on this one. So they have to do better.
I do believe that the evidence is becoming quite clear that Trump is implicated in some way. He's definitely, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, protecting people. That in and of itself is a crime. He's violating the law to protect people, and that is that. That's the end of it. He's committing yet another felony. But what can you expect from somebody who has beaten as many crimes as he has? He feels he's untouchable. He's a president. Felony. And he has support somehow still. And a lot of support still for this guy. I mean, it's down from the 60-70% he was at to the 30s. He's the only reason the Democrats is looking good is because he's looked so bad. Nobody likes Democrats, really. They just hate Trump because of the heinous acts that he does. He's so bad for your party that your party would do better without him at this point. Is that something we can agree on? Because that's something that other politicians seem to be realizing.
Well, here as a consultant, his endorsement hurts more than helps, as we've seen with this recent election. Make sense?
So then that's why his power is gone, and they say he's a lame duck because he can no longer.
He still has time to rectify himself between now and this November. And the economy release these refund checks that he's trying to do, dividend checks, clean up this Epstein stuff, and try to smooth over these wars around the world. We'll see, but the clock is ticking, unfortunately. So,
Florida's flipping blue. Didn't see that coming. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Well, Byron Donalds, the black man who's running for governor, I think we should be supporting him because he's black, right? And that's it. No more questions asked.
That's not how that works at all.
It does for the blue team, unfortunately.
I can't speak for them. I know it doesn't work like that for me. Anyway, if any closing arguments?
Hey, man. Happy New Year 2026, family. We have to be the media, and now you do too, because the mainstream has failed us so much. So you take this content and you share it. And make sure you add your own commentary with your own research. You agree with us, disagree with us, but please, let's keep it going.
Well, this is Leo and Dion signing out.